Biddly, 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 but yes, yo. Here we go. Ain't nobody down round here. You know what time it is. Get that badger in and on and over here. We had to move back to get his greatness in. I'm aware that the clock watchers will be in, but the clout chaser's here. He's in, he's on, he's over. Charity game on Sunday. I'll be out for a run this after. Let me know if you want the tickets. The link will be below, or type in Leeds Cup Creator Content or Creator Content Cup online. It's £7 for adults, £3 for kids. It will be a right good deal. We'll be hanging about afterwards. But the quick shit vid, I'm absolutely delighted. Longstaff is all but over the line. £12 million plus £3 million if we stay up, which you take that all day long. I was saying 15 off the cuff. 27 years old, 171 league appearances. He made 25 league appearances this season, obviously some of it off the bench, but this was allegedly the season where he was out of favour. Fabrizio Maranio, whatever you say his name, he's now confirming it too. He's expected to be in for his medical. I can't wait, Pet. I can't wait for this one, Pet. He'll be at Thorpe Arch tomorrow. Let's go. I went on Joe's show last night. If anybody who tuned in, appreciate every which one of you go. Follow Just Joe. If you don't already, I'm sure you do. But he's obviously the Donny, the greatest to have ever done it. But he dumped me in there, my face. I was like, he won't even win me. And I was like, what is going on here? But we got into a little bit of a bicker, which we moved significantly on from, or quickly on from. But I just want to explain myself, because I sort of pitted Longstaff against Xhaka, and I want to be very careful and clear as to what I mean here, because I mean, some people said in my video yesterday that I started the conversation saying that I wanted that I thought I'd be outraged if Xhaka I'd be outraged if we've signed Xhaka, and I really wouldn't. I said that the fan base would be frustrated if we was talking about Xhaka. He's 32, but anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is I think he's a decent signing. But I do think Longstaff is a far better signing right now. I don't think he's had a better career than Xhaka, but he's exactly what we need. And I don't think Xhaka is. Longstaff's a box-to-box midfielder. Xhaka's best days were when he was sort of further forward. His defensive side of his game can be a bit suspect, even though he does obviously love a challenge. But again, that's not necessarily a great thing. Although I want competitive midfielders. He's quite sluggish at times not on the ball. He's excellent on the ball, but we have to be honest, in his defensive roles, apart from when before Arteta moved him forward, he got exposed quite a bit, and when he's had his success with Alonso in Germany, he was also playing much more advanced, and they had a lot of the ball, so his pace was an issue for him in them roles. He's always excelled at international level, and that's fair enough, but the Swiss team have always built their team more or less around him due to the fact he's probably their best player, which he does thrive in that role. He's a leader on the pitch. I'm certainly not knocking Xhaka, but ultimately for me, he's a short-term solution. They'd have to replace him pretty much the minute he got here. He's 32, so we're into 33. You're looking for one year. If his legs have already, in my opinion, never really been there, they're going to go pretty quickly. It'd be interesting to see how he gets back into the Premier League. But Longstaff truly has 5 years left in him. He's 27, just about turned 28. 5 years in him, or 4 years in him at top level, you would have thought. Longstaff's played in all sorts of Newcastle sides. He's played in relegation battles. He's played in European ties. He's played in cup finals. He's done it all. Eddie Howe's really pressing front foot football. Then he's played for Benitez, who's obviously just doesn't working hard, likes to shut up shop. He won't go missing when it gets tough. This is not saying Xhaka would, but I just think Xhaka's a 32-year-old man who's had a very good career, and Longstaff really is looking to sort of cement himself yet again for the rest of his career, and he sort of finish his career at a top level with another top team, and we are a big team. Won't go missing when it gets tough, and he won't be wasted when we're on top of games. He'll pick up some important goals. He'll make some important blocks. He really is my kind of midfielder, my kind of centre midfielder. Super competitive. That's all I want at the club. It's what I've been saying all the time. It can sit. It can go forward. One thing that I think goes totally unfairly noticed on my man Longstaff, my main man Longstaff, is players that understand their role on and off the ball. But on the ball, my favourite goal of all time is Busquets when he lets, well, Messi, when he lets, Busquets lets Messi have it. Messi pops it into the middle. He's on the halfway line. Busquets just has a look around. Everybody's aware that Busquets is amazing. We don't have Messi or Busquets. I'm not comparing anybody in our side to these two. But then he knows that Messi's on his way and he just 2-yard pass. It's 2 yards, man. And then he does his 2-yard pass and Messi goes and beats everybody and puts it away. It's against Real Madrid, I believe. I've just said it's my favourite ever goal, and then I've just had the panic attack thinking it might not be against Real Madrid, but I think it is. And yes, Messi is a love of mine, and so is Busquets. But Longstaff does this a lot. There's no hype to him. He just does the job. He gives the ball to the best players. He's happy to play. He's happy to win it back, breaks them up, give a 5-yard pass. If Tanaka's in a good position, he'll just move it on. If Tanaka ends up being the ball player that we all hope he is, he'll just give it to Tanaka. The amount of times Longstaff just, not even about winning the ball back, just if it comes to him, and Bruno's clearly the man on the ball, isn't it, for Newcastle, he just gives him it. And then when the chance pops up in the box, you've got to show that you can put it away as well. And he does. He can do that. So that, I do think that's an underrated quality, where it's just like, right, I'm not here to be flashy. It's on that David Batty hype. He used to do it all the time. Be like, 5-yard pass. And it's not the same as this sideways passing thing that we were banging on about last year. It's not an easy thing to do, to trust players and give players the ball in dodgy areas, and everything's at 100 mile an hour. In the Premier League, everything's very crisp and fast, isn't it? Troy Deeney's a donkey. He doesn't hate him, but I heard him talking, which I actually thought was quite good. I heard him talking about just the difference in patterns of play and how quickly the ball gets moved around. The idea that you've got more time in the Premier League on the ball is true, but the reason for that is because everybody's touch and pass is so good. If you go hunting for it without being clever and intellectual about your pressing game, you're never gonna get the ball back. And he was on about like the rhythm of it. It's like boom, 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 but like touch, pass, but there's a rhythm to it rather than like touch, have a look, pass, touch, have a look, pass. It's like there's a rhythm to it, and that makes sense. And I think players like Longstaff are absolutely at that level. That's all he's ever played in the Premier League. He understands the pace of the game and when to release the ball, when not to release the ball. And that's not to suggest that Ampadu and Tanaka don't, but it's a different world in the Championship, isn't it? They haven't done it. They're going to love him coming in. I do believe that. And particularly if we're signing Stack as well, if we get him in, that's another, it's not a Premier League player getting here, but we've got Longstaff in with all his Premier League experiences coming towards the peak of his years. You can't find me a Newcastle fan that doesn't like him. Xhaka's game is to do the dictating. That's why they're two very different types of footballers, because Xhaka has to dictate. That's why he gets pushed further forward and stuff. Longstaff can do a bit of both. He's not going to necessarily dictate the game like Xhaka could, but Xhaka's 32. We need in there some hard men, some individuals that can get about. He's a box-to-box midfielder. I honestly think if you saw them both in training now, which I haven't and nobody has, or well, somebody has, but well, no, they haven't actually, not seen them both at the same time. I honestly think Longstaff edges it. I really do. Coming back to Prem at 32 on Xhaka's case, when he's never been the most mobile player in the world as it is, it'd be interesting to see what he can do when he gets back. But I just know Longstaff has got it in him. And plus, I've wanted him for the best part of 3 years. So, and many people thought I was talking shit 3 years ago. And it turns out that the 49ers also want him. So, I can't help but be excited by it. I'm really hoping, to be perfectly honest, we go with the 3 in midfield. I was talking to Lockie about this. He's got a video out about it, which I do strongly go and suggest you go check out. But particularly if we're bringing Stack in, we've got so much in there, and not to mention Gruev, but, then we've got sort of 6 central midfielders that can all do a job and individually excellent. Obviously Gruev gets pushed further down the pecking order, evidently, but, we're looking for strength in depth at that point. If we want to get rid of Gruev, I think it's more likely that we'll end up with just 2 in the middle again. But it also alleviates us from it frees up the idea that we absolutely need a number 10. Obviously, within games, he's probably going to make some decisions and put Aronson in there or put Parisley in the 10, which I don't want to be happening from the start of games, certainly not from the start of the season. I think if we're going with a 10, we desperately need a 10, but there's been no 10s linked. I just think it frees us up. It means if we've got 3 in there, Longstaff, Ampadu and Tanaka can all sit, as well as get forward. Ampadu less so getting forward, but Tanaka and Longstaff certainly can. But it just means if Goodmanson goes or if Bogle goes, if they start flying down wings, it means they can bomb forward, and we've got a bit of that we've got some not just defensive-minded midfielders, but like midfielders that just understand the role a bit. And Longstaff will not mind going over and covering. Ampadu won't mind going over and covering, and neither will Tanaka. So it just frees us up going forward a little bit. I think it frees up our wingers. If we get another winger in, we could be really excited about that and just have a really super competitive midfield. They're all good on ball, all three of them. Stack will be good on ball. It'd be good stuff. Stack's a bit more of a defensive-minded midfielder. Longstaff for me is just quite literally a central midfielder, which I think Tanaka is. People say that Tanaka, more of an 8 or whatever, but I think they're just central midfielders, them. I just think we have to, bracket them into something. I think Ampadu, Stack, Gruev, they all sit. I think Longstaff and Tanaka just are central midfielders like the old Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira's, perhaps not the words that everybody wants to hear, on the basis that Tanaka is nothing like them types of players. Even though I think Longstaff is a little bit like them players, I don't think he's as good as them players before anybody goes ballistic again, because I'm getting so much shit for really liking Longstaff. I just think it's right for what we need now. And if we went 3 in middle, we'd be super competitive, loads of pace in team, get the wingers going forward, get somebody strong up top. Nemecha, Peru, Parislit and Bamford is what we've got at the moment. But if we were to bring another one in, I think Bamford would work in that system. I think as long as we're just putting Peru in front of goal, it works in that system. He's not that cumbersome. He looks like he's been putting in work over pre-season as well, ace the beep test and stuff. And Nemecha looks like a beast, and he looks like he can get in behind. So, a bit of ferocity up top, and your wingers just flying forward. I'm really excited about this signing. We need to keep making moves. If we get stacking, if we're going to go 3 in midfield, it frees me up from needing the 10, and then we can get a winger in and look at another centre forward if one pops up. It's exciting. Do you deny that? Longstaff, my guy, in for his fucking fitness test tomorrow. Bosh, which you can't fail, because my man, that's all he's about. Box-to-box midfielder, bruh. Joseph is looking likely to be off. There's been a post. We've obviously heard the rumblings of it that he's potentially off to Real Betis, and that is becoming more and more. And he's the type of player. We're talking to Joe last night on his channel again. Go check out Just Joe. He's the goat of the football show. And I can't remember what we said now. How ridiculous is that? What was I talking about, Joseph? What did he say? Yeah, he's the type of player that will want to play, want to start games, and he's not going to start games in Premier League. And you have to put some respect on his name for that, to be fair, because if not, you end up getting messed about. People are talking about a loan to buy and stuff. For me, I'm not doing the books. The one thing that does worry me is with the James deal, with the Longstaff, we've had to wait a little bit of time. And it's they've spread, I mentioned it yesterday, but they've spread the fee out of James, saying it's 5 years over the next 5 million over the next 4 years. So they spread it out a little bit, which has potentially freed up some money. But if we're only talking 15 million, that is a bit of a worry. If we were talking like 35 million for a player, which I wouldn't pay for Longstaff, don't get me wrong, 35 million and we need to free up a bit of money, I'd be a little bit more like, well, yeah, that makes a bit of sense. It's a big bulk of money. But when we're talking like 2 or 3 million and we're needing to spread a contract over 4 years, I don't know. But in the 49ers, we trust. Get up. It's a mint signing. I can't wait to see him in a Leeds shirt. Can't wait to watch him at Ellen Road. Shawnee Longstaff, if you're watching this, mate, do not let me down. So these lot will have the receipts and I am dead meat. Peace. Like, subscribe. Hooray.
Boom.